Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
The US Swiss, I just pulled that one up. It's not really a bounce arrow go because it didn't really bounce off of a zone, unless there was one here that went away, but right now there's nothing there. We do have an up arrow right coming up to a red zone, and we can measure this out and see if there's any room to the upside, and there's only 10 pips to the upside on that, so I'll pass on it, and we'll just wait and see what happens. It is in an uptrend, so I will go and mark this arrow to the up arrow down. We'll mark it down here. This is where the last zone was that we see. And we'll check the Swiss yen. We'll go over there and pull up the Swiss yen. And here again, we had a bounce arrow go. It did pull back significantly off of that bounce. We have a red zone. Let's see where our trend is. Our trend is in a, looks like it's creating an uptrend. We have two zones on the top, two zones on the bottom. Just created a third zone, so that kind of has it qualified as an uptrend. I'm looking to see. Here's the W. Here's the break of the middle of the W. So this thing does look like it may be heading up to the upside. I'm gonna go ahead and put an up arrow in right by this little zone right here. And remember too that this zone that we're looking at right now for the new day is basically Sunday, Monday combined pretty much. This was a Sunday break, and then we have the zone. Here's our money zone right in this little box right here. There's a lot of room to the upside. I would wait for it to come back down, see if it bounces off of this little green zone down here. It's this contra trend right now. We have an up arrow with a down arrow with an uptrend. So let's pull this out a little bit here to see if we can make it a little bit clearer. And like I said, I would, right now, all of our moving averages are in the right direction. So I'd be looking at playing this more to the upside, and we'll see if maybe we get another bounce off of this area. We make it the bounce off the 200 moving average to the upside, in which case it looks like there'd be lots of room to the upside if it decides to start taking off in that direction. And let's see, New Zealand USD. We have a bounce arrow, two arrows going to the go direction. Let's see what our overall direction is. Our overall direction is a downtrend. And a lot of times too, is like, especially from the beginning of the week, you'll get some contra trend trades because it starts taking in the position for the continuation of the trend throughout the week. And so it's not too unusual to see some good moves to the contra trend trade early in the week as everybody's starting to take their positions. Here was Friday's money zone. We did get a little bit of a breach of it over here. Move that right up there. And we had the Sunday overnight session, which we could back that off a little bit to this area. We did get the break of the zone. Actually had a little bit of a break right down in here. See if I can pull this up. This was the lowest candle body of the Sunday session. Here's mark where the money zone is, and this is going to be on the 29th today. And so we did have a little bit of a break here. That was sort of like, it looked like this would not have worked out very well. It doesn't look like unless that's a bigger move than I thought. But it looks like right now we are in a downtrend. Then we'll go and check the news here in just a minute. Let's see how much room there is to the zone up here. We have two up arrows. Here was the entrance there, and now we got 30-some pips to the upside. So there's enough room to the upside. Just understand this contra trend. It did give a little head fake to the from the money zone. It has a little money zone break now. We'll just look at that right now. Has a money zone break from Friday's zone. This is Sunday night to Monday morning. Had a little bit of breach, poked its nose up there, but it couldn't close above Friday's high. So just be careful with that one. I'm going to pass on it. And let's take a look at the news. Here we are Monday morning. And let's see if there's any red folder news here. I'm not seeing anything. Pretty kind of a slow news day today. Let's check out the week here. Tuesday. No red folders that I'm seeing on Tuesday. Wednesday. Not a lot of red folders this week that I'm seeing on this Forex factory chart.
I have a feeling it's going to be a very slow week.
Yeah, I'm thinking so too. All day here we have an OPEC meeting on Thursday, April 1st, that first of the month. And yeah, so I'm not expecting a whole lot of activity this week, but we'll see. You never know. It's and then Friday, this is Good Friday. It's going to be there'll be some early departures for the holiday. This is at 8:30 in the morning, U.S. pairs. So just keep aware of that. Right now, looks like it's going to be kind of a slow week news-wise. Any questions so far? Any comments? And let's see. And that's about it for right now. Let's see. Let's take a look at a couple of these pairs. There was the U.S. Swiss was a pair that we were looking at earlier. Maybe we'll put that under the microscope and see what it's doing. Uptrend. Let me go and pull that one up here. U.S. Swiss. Okay, so here's what the U.S. Swiss is looking like. Let's go and make that bigger. I'm going to pull this up. So this was all Sunday, Sunday night to Monday morning. This was all Friday, right back in here. And looking at the playground right now, this is Friday's high. Here's Thursday's low. So this is the playground which we're playing in right now. And you can see that if you look and see where Friday's price action is, you can see where it finished pretty much right in the middle of this whole zone. So I would expect it to come back to find its happy spot right here in the middle, which is be pretty much right in the middle of this area. That's about right where this mid-range is. It's gonna be right in here. You can see where, if you take a look, and you can see where this thing bounces and takes off and comes back to and finds its spot. See, like here's a hit, here's hits. So if you were to take a box and put it and see how many of those areas where it kind of comes back and finds its place again. Came up, came back, tested it, took off, came back, kind of retested it right here, took off, came back in a little bit deeper, and then it broke out. So right now it keeps on. So this area right in the middle is almost like a magnet, and so you can draw a fib line. Yeah, you can actually draw a fib line into this whole area and see where the highest or the 25% areas of the zone are. And you can see that I'd be more apt to be a seller up in this 25% area. Just move this up in here. I'd be more of a seller in this zone. And I'd be more of a buyer down in this lower 25%. You can see where it came down. It came down into the a little bit over halfway, about the 62% retracement. But I'd be a seller up there, and I'd be a buyer down below until it breaks out of this box. And try and find an area over here that looks like it would be a nice good spot for. This is where it broke to the upside. Hasn't come down and retested. It came down a little bit closer to retested, but it didn't make it all the way down. So it does have a little bit of upward strength on this, judging from this. But there really isn't any real clear direction right now. Right now I'm looking at going sideways inside this range. And the range of this box is 65 pips. So the top, so you can probably catch about 20, 30 pips in the middle if you can. As long as it doesn't break out the top of this, you could maybe catch something back to the mid-range possibly. That's just a straight price action analysis. It's not really much of a bag entry or strategy. That's just the overall where this thing is going. It's just going sideways right now. And questions, comments?
I think everyone's still half asleep.
I think, and myself included.
We're fine in the chat box.
And so if anybody has any questions or comments, we'd appreciate if you put it in the question and answer box so that we could be more apt to catch them and see it. Yeah, that's really all we have to say about that one. We could look at the heat map today and see where the strength of these currencies are. And right now we're looking at the British pound as being the strongest overall.
Wow, look at that, eh? The Swiss is right at the bottom.
The Swiss is right at the bottom. So right now, if we're looking at, if we get an alert for the British pound and the Swiss, we'd be trading to the strength of the British pound and the weakness of the Swiss. New Zealand is also fairly strong. That's in the top 2 or 3 of all the pairs. So we'll keep an eye on that part. And there's just an alert here, or is that something else I heard? Euro Swiss, let's take a look at that one.
Al, you need your dashboard, man.
Is it up yet? Or
Oh,
is
yeah.
it out? Is it out? Okay. Yeah, I was going all weekend. I never did look to see. Well, let me see if I can put it on here. Here we go.
It'll take you. Well, you gotta upgrade your server, your VPN.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
there's a whole process.
Then all right. Well, then I will have that done by tomorrow. I got back yesterday afternoon, and I didn't get a chance to, or I didn't even think about it. I forgot all about that. It was coming out this weekend. And let's see, Euro Swiss, up in the red zone. Looks like we're in a downtrend, up arrow. Looks like this could possibly be a bank induction. We got an arrow up into the zone. Move that up there. So take a look at this and see if we can get a bounce off of this zone, and we might have a trade on this one. We are in a downtrend. Looks like there's plenty of room to the downside.
Yeah, that wouldn't even be a
Like
bank
this.
induction. That would just be a normal bounce arrow go, right? If it goes back the other way.
Well, yeah, if it bounces the other way, but wouldn't this be a bank induction? The fact it's got the up arrow, it's in a downtrend, has an up arrow right into the zone.
It's just so it has to do with the moneymaker cycle. I don't know. Doesn't look to me we're in a moneymaker cycle right now.
Yeah, that's
Because
the second factor.
Hey, Matt.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Good morning.
Good morning.
So we have that W, or the M. So this would be maybe the first leg M. Then we get the up arrow into the zone and then come on down. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, I'm not 100% clear on the moneymaker as far as looking at these charts. I'm used to seeing moneymaker cycle with a pretty big trend. Maybe if you look out a little further out.
Let me put the arrow in here. Let's just take a look and see if we. So we've got this big move down. This is really breaking the top of this W. That's a pretty big W there. It did finally break that in this area, but now it's coming back. I don't know. Yeah, I don't know. This one's a little foggy to me.
Yeah, I think you're right about the. I don't know if it would be considered bank induction because it's not a bank induction unless the qualifier of the what do you call it, the market maker cycle is there, right? If it doesn't have the market maker cycle, then it's not, even though it looks like one.
So you have to have the strong move up. You have to have the middle of the M to. So basically, the second hump, this would be like the first shoulder of the M, come back down to form the middle of the M to come back up, and then at that point, if you got the up arrow into the zone, that would be the induction.
Right. I think that would be I think that would be more of a bank induction. Yep.
So that's very interesting. Okay.
So we need to have this to be the first leg of the M. So that not to qualify that from this theory, then this would be the middle of the M coming back down. And then we would have the right shoulder of the M coming up. And then if we would have the up arrow into the red zone, that would be your market maker cycle. And then you could take it off when it comes up into that. Then you could take, especially if you had a little bit of a slope from, you have a little bit of a descending trend over this way. And then you could probably, then if you have this up arrow into the zone, then you could start looking at taking a short, and then you'd be going with the trend, which is a down arrow, then coming down into this area. So we may want to take a look at that, see if we can get that little, we'll keep this drawing on here and see if it materializes in this manner. There is a lot of room to the downside. That's 47, almost 50 pips to the green zone. If we look at this, go ahead, Matt.
Did you have any troubles with setting up your arrow and stuff?
Oh, none at all, because I didn't try.
Oh,
so I just found out. I forgot all about the fact that the dashboard was coming out this weekend, and I was gone all weekend, and I.
Oh, I get it.
Night,
okay.
And I didn't. The last thing on my mind was to.
All right, no worries.
See about this. So yeah, I'll have it on. I'll set it up tomorrow for tomorrow.
Absolutely. No worries at all.
No?
Yes.
Jannar brought to my attention that my FX book is just absolutely jammed with red folder news, and I looked at it, and he's correct. You might want to have a look at it.
Okay, that's. I may have to start rethinking about even put any value on Forex Factory if it doesn't show any. If it's not showing, if it's missing half the news. Let me see here.
There's like envelope after envelope of red folder in my FX book.
Forex, I always thought Forex Factory was still a little bit better than maybe they're just not giving us the information. Forex Factory news. Where's my news here? Balance review. News. Here we go. Forex news.
We can't see it.
I'm trying to find it here. Actually, it's not. All right, where did it go? Give me a minute here. There it is. All right, here's the news. Yeah, okay, this is March 29th. Nothing red here on today that I'm seeing.
Starting tomorrow.
Starting tomorrow. There's a couple of things here later on today, 8 o'clock tonight. There's some European stuff coming out. That shouldn't affect us this morning.
But if you look at the rest of the week, it's
Yeah, I'm trying to get to the top where I guess I can just scroll it down. There we go. Let's see, here's Tuesday.
Have you ever considered filtering by the color of the folders?
I haven't played with this that much.
Okay.
Okay, this is Tuesday. This is tomorrow. We've got some red folders at 8 o'clock in the morning for Europe, the Euro, and the US at 10. So yeah, a little bit early tomorrow morning. Later on the day at 9 o'clock, looks like we have some Canadian news. Then on Wednesday.
That's not, I don't know what that is. It's not Canadian.
I know the answer to this one.
What's that?
CNY.
That's China.
That's China. I was just saying, I think that's China. Thank you. So British.
No problem.
But we're not going to worry about this right now today because this is all Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. But it may still depend on how.
Just so you're aware, because yours showed none for the week until Friday.
Yeah,
So,
that's true. That's true.
just so you know that it is coming up starting tomorrow. And there's one where Biden makes a speech. That was red folder as well. I'd have to look at mine. Mine only shows the red folders. I don't look at the other ones.
We'll have to talk about that a little bit, and I'll see if I can just filter out the red ones. So
on the 31st, President Biden has his speech. So
I'm sure that will be earth-shattering.
It doesn't matter. The money's still going to do what it's going to do because of it.
Money's going to do anyway. Yeah. Anyway, that's what we have for the red folders for right now. Any other questions, comments? Let's see, I think we looked at the US Swiss already, I believe. Yeah, that's one we analyzed a little bit. Marcus probably feels the same way about Monday mornings as I do. We'll see what happens with this little, see if this does anything right here. There's still a little bit of upward pressure on this Euro Swiss. Let's take a look at that one. Take this off so we can wait for the next alert to pop up.
Well, I was seeing we don't have an alert. How long would it take you to put on the dashboard so we can show who's in the room how to do that?
He's got to update his BPS and everything. It's going to take a minute.
Okay, forget it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Actually, I do want to take a look and see with the navigator. Here's the Arrow dashboard right here. So yeah, it's going to be like an EA that you're going to be loading onto it. Yeah, I'll pass on doing it right now so I know exactly what I'm doing. Let's go with the Euro Swiss. Let's take a look at that one. You see where this arrow came right up into this little zone right in here. And we had a little bit of a drop, base drop, coming back to retest this area right in here. So I would be careful with this one. It does look to me like this has the potential going back to the downside. Here's where we had a nice strong move down, came back up, retested it, broke out again. And this is the nice little Fibonacci retracement extension. This is where I would be using this tool from up here down to the bottom. It pulled back about 30% and came back down and hit, no, this would be the 100% of this move down. So it came down pretty hard, actually. It came down a lot further. My target on this one would have been, if I had looked at this for the Fibonacci retracement, my target would have been right in here. You can see where it made that and exceeded it, but I would have been out probably by the time it got into this area. Came back down, it's coming up to retest the zone. And this thing could come, we could have a nice little pullback to a trend line, a projected trend line, be maybe up around into this area. From here, somewhere up around this area, I can see where they could come back down, retest, and then go back up higher again. This is a nice little move right in here. This thing could be going, it did break the lows from a couple of days prior. This was the 22nd. This was last Monday. Here's a trend. There's the higher time frame trend line. It broke that, came back up. It's retesting the wedge. Basically, this would be like the bottom trend line of a wedge or a channel, and then it's coming right back up to retest it, and it could come back down. We'll see. We'll see what it does. Just keep an eye. I still like this thing more to the downside right now than to the upside. That's all I have to say about that one. Questions, comments, anything pairs anybody wants to take a look at while we're waiting around?
No, just Justin had a comment that he thought that the euro was down due to the fears of Germany and France going back in lockdown for COVID.
You know, there's always, you can always rationalize any type of idea about why it's going to do what it's going to do. And I usually find out most of the time, whatever I think is going to happen, it's not always right. I just let the charts tell me what it's going to do. And the news will always find some reason as to why it did or didn't do what it did after the fact. And because they have to figure out something to give it a cause and effect. But it really doesn't matter why it does what it does. All we want to know is that it's going to do it or not do it. And we just let the charts tell us. And that's one reason why I don't really pay that high of attention to the news, because the charts will generally tell you what's going to happen with the news before the news tells you what the news is. Because the money people already have their positions. They already pretty much know which way it's going to go, or they've been briefed on which way to expect it to go, and then they usually take their positions ahead of time. And then when the news comes out, all you do is you play into their hands. That's why a lot of times when you get earnings reports from the stocks, you say, well, it beat earnings and it goes in the tank. So that's because all the big money's already taken the positions long on it, and then as soon as the report comes out, everybody says, "Oh, we had a good report, I'm going to buy it." Well, they're just selling. The big guys are selling all their positions to the buyers as they run the price back down again. It's all part of the game.
Harjinder is saying that on the 5-minute and on the 15-minute, he got an alert for the US 30. I just looked at the 5-minute and it's there's no trade there. It's counter trend and it's just not in a very good position. I haven't looked at the 15-minute though.
See what our German 30s looking at. It's kind of up and up. No, nice bounce arrow go on this one. There's a bounce. Here's the arrow. This was back earlier this morning. That was probably during the London session. Let's see, what time would have that been here? It's let me get my objects out here. This thing broke. This was at 1300, basically the opening of the 1 o'clock. So that would be -7. About 6 o'clock this morning is when that one happened. Let's see, then we're on the 5-minute chart on this one. We usually run the 5-minute chart on the indexes. Gold, usually all on 5-minute charts. That would be a nice little move. That's a classic bounce arrow to the go side. Let's see what the direction is. It isn't an uptrend. Lots of green bars, small red bar. But you have been up pretty early in the morning to catch that one.
Did you guys want me to do a quick example of how to set up the arrow dashboard?
Sure.
Like literally about like 2 minutes and how
Sure.
fast it takes.
Okay, why don't you go ahead and do that? I'll stop sharing and go ahead and share it. Maybe I get mine up there then.
All right.
Okay, I'll stop sharing.
Cool.
And let's see. Okay, I stopped and you got it there, Matt.
Right on. So the first key is that you need to request a new VPS. Okay. And in order to request a new VPS, it's in your best interest not to have any other systems running with trades open, because they probably won't reissue you a new VPS. So you'll know you have a new VPS. There's instructions about what to put in the ticket as a specific keyword that you have to put as a subject. And then it gets routed to the right people. You get an email back, and then you get a new IP address and a new password. Once that happens, then you're going to go look on the left. You should see Arrow Dashboard in Expert Advisors, and you should see Arrow version 4.1 in Indicators. So one of the problems that we've seen people have is that they don't have the template blackout. If you don't have a blackout template, then that means you need to send a ticket with that information so that they add it to your VPS folder. Okay.
This is a lot more involved than what I was expecting.
Well, I'm telling you guys all of the potential little issues that that people have experienced and how to resolve them. So in a perfect world, all you do is you request a new VPS, you put your template for blackout, you drag your Arrow dashboard on, right? You go into commons, allow live trading, whatever. In here, you go down. This is a really important part. People don't pay attention to the video. In here, you put Arrow, all in caps. Then it template for new chart, Arrow. Next thing, you can actually change this to number of days 10 to give you 2 weeks worth of ADR data. instead of just 5 days. These are your time frames that you can use. If you want to add cryptos, you need to use your own pair list. You then need to go and add the cryptos at the end here. Not rocket science. So now we're just going to go here. We're going to click
Assuming that all
OK.
this video is all in the back office under the setups.
It is all in the Arrow chat. So now
The Arrow chat.
the Arrow announcements. There's two really important things. The first one is how to request the VPS, the new VPS, and the second one is a 15-minute video that explains just what I showed you. So now we just wait a little bit. You need to sit on your hands for 2-3 minutes, and then all the alerts are gonna start popping up. And that is the ABCs of setting up the Arrow dashboard in a nutshell.
So basically start this information from the Arrow on the Telegram channel. I'm assuming you know what you're saying. Where you find this information out.
Sorry, just a sec.
Excuse me, in the chat, Judson
Go
put
ahead.
the YouTube video link. If anybody.
Oh, okay, yeah. But you
Thank
need to
you.
make sure, before you go to that video, you need to make sure you follow the first steps to get a new VPS. Or else none of that's going to work.
Okay, I think right now what's key is to make sure everybody knows where to find this information that you just showed us how to do. So you're saying it's in the Arrow announcements, in the VPS, in the Telegram. I'm just looking for it right now. This is all critical. We have to make sure we know where to start with this thing to upgrade the VPS and everything else.
Hold on. Okay, I can't answer all these messages. Sorry, I just got way too many messages when I started distracting. Al, all right. Try say what you were saying again. I apologize.
My first question is that we need to find out step by step of where do you find the information for the VPS? Is that in the back office or is it off of a Telegram message?
Arrow announcements. It's also in the Arrow bag chat.
Why wouldn't it fit in the back office?
It's probably in the back office. It's just easier to find it here. Nate puts it here. He says Arrow announcements. It's right here. And here's the video.
The problem with the Arrow bag chats is like right now I'm showing there's 1,281 messages in there.
Mm-hmm. So the Arrow announcements is another channel.
But if it's in the back office, it's probably easier to find and more people have access if they're not part of this Telegram channel.
All the links were sent out in the chats a couple times. But yeah, it's probably in the back office. I just haven't found it in the back office because I just used it off of the Arrow announcements chat.
Okay. All right, so we have the Arrow announcements, and that's where you can kind of get started with it, and that should lead you through the process.
Yeah, you just do this. You click on that. It opens up another screen. It says, "Hey, check this out. It's ready. What are you gonna do?" Well, you do this. And then, it's as simple as that.
Well, I will work on that as soon as we get done with this session. I'll start working on that and see that way. At least I'll be able to explain understand the step-by-steps of it. I won't know until I do it myself to see how this is actually going to go.
Right. Oh, my bad. I think I had some problem. Hold on a sec. All right, I'll stop sharing for a sec. I've got. All right, so people, I guess it's fine then because it'll most of the softwares will manage your existing trades once you reload them on the new VPS. It's just you're gonna have to reset all of your you have to reset up all of your existing softwares if you have more than one.
But it should maintain the trades that you have open and still maintain.
They
and manage
should,
those.
yes. To the best of
Okay.
my knowledge, they do because they have.
Yeah, I
the-
can. I had open trades and everything, and is the smart thing to do would be if you have open trades in the other tools, just to wait till over the weekend. Just do it over the weekend, so you're not allowing the EA to go down while you have live trades.
Yeah.
Somebody
Yeah. I think,
something?
I'm sorry, I didn't catch that. Eva, say that again.
Can somebody please share something? We're looking at nothing here.
Oh, I thought Matt was sharing still. Okay, here we go.
No, I'm done. I'm done for now. I don't have anything more to say about that. I just wanted to show you guys how to set it up and just some of the general issues that certain people have had.
Okay, we do have a gold alert. I don't see anything to take on this one. And I apologize for everybody for not having that myself set up because I was going all this weekend and I just didn't get to doing it.
No, that's fine. That's fine.
Let's see. So right now, where gold is in a downtrend, looks like a little bit of a downtrend. Oh, that's the wrong one. Where did gold go? That's what I was looking for. Okay, so we're gonna tighten that up. Okay, yeah, gold is in a downtrend. It's coming right into a green zone, so there's no real trade here. In fact, it's in a downtrend. I have to be looking for a little bit more. Actually, this zone right in here is pretty tight. And we're looking at from this area to here, we're looking at basically about $20 move. 27 to, actually, no, it's not even that. It's a $2 move. $2 range in between here. That's too tight for trading the gold. So no help there. Let's see if there's any other questions or comments in here.
Yeah, there aren't any right now.
Until then, we just sort of wait and see what we have, what develops here. Some mornings are just slower than others. I said, I'm not in a big hurry to take any trades on a Monday morning. I usually like letting those markets settle in.
We just got a couple of alerts. The Euro Yen
Okay.
and CAD Swift.
Let's try that. Euro Yen, CAD Swiss.
I heard you talking.
Euro Yen. Here we go. And let's see, we had a Fibonacci on that. I'm gonna take this off. And let's see, we have more green than red, so we are in an uptrend. It's coming right up into the red zone. Only 4 pips to the zone, so that's not a trade. And the CAD Swiss. CAD Swiss is CAD Swiss right here. And that's right up into the zone as well. Let's see, nothing on this one either. One, two, three, green, two, red. It's in an uptrend, but it's right up into the zone. There's the up arrow. I'll move this out a little bit and see what we have for, see if there's any other possibilities on this one. Objects, get my money zone set up. And get some other values here, 74.67. There's a blue line, and we'll put a target in here of 0.7470 and 0.7450, call it. And so we would have a target up here. If it can break through that red zone, we'd have a target. We have an uptrend. Here's where the alert was, right off of in that area, but it's right into the red zone. I'd like to see it break the red zone, clear this one out to come up and retest that one. We do have a little bit of a drop. Here's some basing. Drop, came back and retested it here. It did break this retest area. And the Swiss, we said, was weak, comparatively speaking, with the rest of the, let's see where to go. Get my heat map up here. Bear with me a second. We can see the Swiss is still weak on the 1 hour, the 30-minute, and the 15. So the Swiss is weak, and we were looking at the CAD. The CAD is getting stronger. It's kind of in the middle of the pack here. So we'd be looking at taking this one long. Swiss is the weaker currency. It's the second currency of the pair. That's the weaker one. And that means the CAD is stronger. So CAD would be to the upside. Strength on this one is to the upside, but I like to see a breakthrough this area right in here first. Maybe get a close. It's got to get through this zone. You can see it's having a little bit of trouble doing that. If we can get a close above this level at the 74.71, then we have some room to the 74.85, which is that's only going to be 14 pips to the top, to the upside. So that would be one taken at your own risk once it gets through there. I wouldn't want to take this thing long right now because it's got to break through this, and it seems to be having some problems getting through that. Look at it on a 5-minute chart. A little bit of a doji with a little bit of a, this would be a fractal high right up here in this zone. Moving averages are in the right direction. We're having a little bit of a trend, a little bit of a wedge coming in right here from the top of this down here. And we have a flat bottom. I like this point right here to the bottom over here.
Hey, folks. Sorry, I had to step away again.
You didn't miss anything.
No.
Yeah, like I said, we have a little bit of a wedge right up here at the top, right up into this little supply zone. We have a little bit of, this would be a little bit of a fractal high right in the red zone. Now the question is, can it break through? I said I wouldn't want to take this trade until I got through this zone, and then you only have 15 pips to the upside. So I said everything's right now still seems to me as though it's still kind of consolidating and trying to figure out which direction it's going to trade this week. But I'd like to see a breakthrough here. And my guess is what my thinking will be is that it's going to break through the bottom, bounce off of this, and then come back up and break through, then maybe break through. But I'd be looking at this thing to come back down a little bit deeper and then come up and retest and then maybe continue on. Strong move up, small pullback, but it's got to get through this zone right here. And that could give us a little bit of a problem on that. So right now I'm just keeping my powder dry, I want a little bit more confirmation on the trades before I take a trade this morning. And right now we're looking at the New Zealand has picked up some strength against the British pound. So right now the New Zealand is the strongest currency of the pair. Dollar is still relatively weak, but that's a lot of time that happens before the market opens, the US market opens up. We're still looking at the yen and the Swiss being the weaker pair. And strength to the British pound and the New Zealand dollar. So let's see if we can maybe make some heads or tails out of that. New Zealand and Swiss, let's try to take a look at that. Nice little bounce arrow go on this one. This was already passed. A little strength to the down, more strength to the downside. Take these fractals off so it doesn't get too confusing. And this would be a down arrow. And I'll bring this over to the money zone. And then we have the overnight for Friday's high, be right here. Friday's low. I start seeing a breakout of this range, Friday's high and low. Right now we have pretty much of an engulfing. If you're looking at this as a single candle, looking at someone engulfing the Friday range. It went short first and then it's going long. So this thing could be an interesting trade here. It's not really a setup yet, but it does have a lot of room to the upside and is showing strength to the upside. Here's a money zone breakout right here, just before this arrow. And the Swiss is showing weakness to the New Zealand dollar. And we have room to the upside. It's 52 pips. I like the fact this thing closed above Friday's range. Let's see if there's anything on the 5-minute chart that shows any zones at all. I'm not seeing anything there. New Zealand, Swiss. Let's take a look at it on the microscope. Let's go to a higher time frame and see where this thing may stop. Here's a strong move down. Boy, this thing looks like this thing could come all the way up to this little area right in here. This has good room to the upside. There's a nice little wick over wick area. This is on a 4-hour chart right now, but on the 4-hour chart, it came down, formed a little lower wick. You can see that here's the down wick, up wick. That's a little wick over wick area. This would be a retest area. This is all clean, nothing in that range. Go to a 1-hour chart and see if we can find some other area. Strong move down. It already broke through this little zone right here. This little doji broke through that. This thing has some room to the upside. This looks like it's got about 20 pips, I guess. Gets the 4 digits on this. That might help a little bit. I think we'll check this little area right out in here and see what this thing's going to do. Right now, we had a nice little wick up on the 15-minute, on the 1-hour. A little bit of a pullback on this. Come to a lower time zone, not time frame. See if it bounces off of this, and we have a little bit of an uptrend. See what kind of a pullback we get on this one. It's pulling back 7 pips right to the 13 moving average, and could go a little bit deeper. I'd like to see, but if it can break through the top of this little wedge right here, with this have moved to the upside, get all the way back down to a 1-minute chart. And here's our wedge. Nice pivot high. There's a low, lower high, higher low possible bounce. And I say if it can break through the top, I say we might have a trade to the upside. Let's see if this little bounce here can hold off of this moving average. This is real fine tuning a possible trade. So we have a German 30 alert. Let's see what that does. Down arrow, uptrend. And coming right down into the 100, 200 moving average. And is there room to the downside? One is the contra trend. I don't like taking trades coming into an upward sloping 200 moving average. I would look at that as a bounce in the target area. It's 90 to, see, 14,790. That's only this $15 move on that one, all the way down, then down to the about $27 move to the green zone. Let's take a look at this on the 1 minute. This thing could work for a scalp, possibly. If you can get this thing to break through this little pivot down here, you could maybe get a shot at this one. This is all the way in the 1 minute chart. Just showing some downward pressure on the 1 minute. If the 1 minute can show some weakness as it pulls back up to this blue line, that could be a possible trade. I would caution anybody. This is an index. This is a index move, and I don't trade these generally, but this is what I'd be looking at with this one. It does have some room to the downside, but you wouldn't go for a whole lot on this. Right now it's at 88. Questions, comments? What do you think about this one, Eva? You still there? Where did Eva go?
Her internet has been going in and out. She may be out.
Sorry,
Oh.
I was muted.
Oh, there you are.
I wasn't sure if I was talking to myself again or not.
No. I did look at it, and I'm inclined to jump into it myself. It has enough movement there, in my opinion, even to the top of the line at the moving average, to grab a couple of pips anyway. And it is in the zone for counter trend, so otherwise I wouldn't if it wasn't in that zone right now. But I am inclined. I haven't done it yet, but if I don't do it soon, I'm not doing it at all. Let's put it that way.
And your target would be the 200 moving average on this.
That's where I'd put my target to the top of the green zone, but I would definitely watch to see if it stalls out at that moving average. If it starts to stall out, I'm very impatient and I don't like drawdown. I don't like waiting for it to come back. I'm inclined to get out of it there. But that's just my style of trading. Everybody has their own. So I don't know. Again, it depends on the position size, whether it's worth your while doing it.
There's a bit of an uptrend. We have a little bit of a break of this trend line. Here's our anchor. Here's a hit. Here's an anchor. Here's a hit. Here's a hit. Here's a break of the hit coming back up to retest the trend line. And if we can get a strong move to the downside, this could be I'm inclined to take this one as well.
Yeah. I think it's going to come down and do its
I think it's got some room to the moving average.
Yeah.
This is a break of the wedge. This would be the bottom of the wedge. Strong move down, broke through, came back up, retested. This is a little bit of a drop base, possible drop. So you could justify it with from a Fibonacci standpoint, you could justify it to this I wouldn't give it much more than the maybe the $10 move on this one to the moving average.
Yeah.
And
I
I
think
keep my stop up above, probably right up above in this area right here, about 14. So you're giving a little bit more room to the upside, but you do have some pressure to the downside on this. This is about as good as I've seen it get so far this morning.
yeah.
Right now we're up about 6 pips.
This one, I've got this one on my variable. And so far, it's the only one that's bagged me any profit since last night. When everything started up, the German. I really like this one.
I'll put this my target. I'm going to put my target here at the 14,775.
That's where I put
775.
mine.
775. And my stop will be at 14,813.
Just be cautious about your position size on the indices. It's
Yeah,
not going to be the same.
I noticed that again, that I've got a little bit more than what I was. I feel pretty good about this trade though. 14.
Yeah, of course.
14, 8.
Looks like it's going to work out well. Good job,
8,
Ava.
13.
Yeah. Al's position size is a lot bigger than mine.
Yeah, this is not. I would not. I keep forgetting to change this one on this. I said when I take off for a week and I let everything behind me.
No, it's fine. It's just we got to make sure people know. You see, his equity is at 4,400, and his free margin is only $1,300.
Yeah.
So
Right.
this is enough to, like, if it comes back against him at all, it's gone.
Right.
If it hits the stop loss, it's gone.
The position size of this should have been about 1 decimal point over.
At least, yeah.
At least 1 decimal point over.
And it's funny, I'm looking at the 1 minute and our take profit is right where the green zone is on the 1 minute. Funny how that works out, huh?
Yeah, that worked out well.
Right there, yep. Yeah, thanks for pointing that out about my position sizes on this. I need to change this.
45 pips locked and loaded.
0.03, we'll call it 0.03 is what this thing needs to be. Yeah, this can hurt. They'll beat you up real bad if you. I mean, right now I've chewed up 3/4 of my free margin with that just as one trade like that. And you do not want to be doing that. I'm going to hang in here with this just because it's going in my right direction. But if this thing were going against me at all, I'd be out of this thing.
Yeah. These the German in particular, I find it moves quick enough that you can get into profit right away. So I like to actually watch it. And if I like where it's at before it starts to retrace a little bit, then I just get out. I mean, depends on what you're happy with, depends on what your plan is. And that's just my style of trading. I find it works for me that if I have some profit sitting in there and even the retrace, I'm too impatient to wait for the retrace and for it to come back. So I just get out and move on.
I just closed 2/10 of, right now I only have 0.16. I had 0.3 on there. I just took 2/3 of it off. If you want to see how I did that, I did right clicked, went to the, actually right click, go to modify trade, come up here to pending order. Right now I've got 0.16. I can back this thing off to a 0.08, and I can take a 0.08 off and just do a market order And I'm going to close out 0.08 of it. And now I've only got 0.08 left. That's a little bit better ratio there. So if you do make a mistake like that, that's how you can kind of fix it. You can just take some of it off. Now I can just let it go like I would normally want to let it go. And see if it comes down and hits my target. There are ways of fixing mistakes.
Most mistakes. Some mistakes are more expensive.
Yeah. Some are profitable, but most sometimes they get to be expensive.
Yeah. Don't sit in a mistake trade, guys.
Yeah. If you recognize you made a mistake, now try and fix it as soon as possible, whether you're winning or losing. As I said, this stuff can go against you just as fast as it goes with you. And we're in this trade right now, just waiting to see how it plays out. See, it came back down, and if you look, it probably came right to a, well, let's see, we're on a 1 minute chart right now. Let's go back to the 5 minute, which is where we normally are. Still looking good. We're still having it's still making lower highs and lower lows on the 5 minute chart. But did come right down towards this moving average, and it found some buyers in here or some sellers that were taking profits.
Well, I've got a question for you.
Uh-huh.
For newer traders, do you recommend just using the currency trades? Do you think they should, or as opposed to using like the German or the S&P trade?
I think you're safer just sticking with the currencies until you get a better handle on how things move and trying to get a few. After a while, there's certain pairs. For instance, like Eva has traded this German DAX index quite a bit, so she has a good feel for how it moves. The more I would say, pick a couple that you really like, or that you first off, do it in demo so that you get a feel for making sure you're comfortable with your platform and your settings. Like for instance, like this, you want to have your platform set so you have a reasonable lot size if you do take it. But no, if the price the charting is the same, you chart the same. A lot of times it depends on the time frame and the. I mean, some people are very successful just trading indexes. Some people are very successful just trading the currencies. I say find something that moves in a direction you can get a feel for the way it moves, and then just get real good at it. I think the currencies are a safer place because you can trade with a very small dollar amount. That way you can get a feel for it without losing. You're trading candy bars and you're not risking a lot of money. And as you get better, your trade size of candy bars. Then as you get more comfortable and as your account gets bigger, then you can start trading for hamburgers. And then you can go for Mexican food, and then you can go for steak dinners. So just build up your account slowly with small amounts, get comfortable with it, get the feel for how these indicators and strategies work. And then that will tell you when you're ready to you'll start seeing a trade like this one. You'll start seeing a trade and say, oh, I'm really comfortable with this. I'll take the shot at it. But know where you're but be careful with your targets. Don't say, okay, just because there's a green zone down here, I'm going to go for the green zone when you have a moving average sitting here right in the way. Because there's a better than average chance that it's going to bounce off that moving average. It bounced off. It didn't even get to it and start making a bounce. So right now, if it can close below this moving average, well, then you can start shooting for this one. But no, I'm a big proponent of taking profits early. You don't want to have a winning trade turn into a losing trade. I said, this thing's getting very close to the moving average. I'll go back to my 1 minute chart and see if it shows me anything that now right now all my moving averages are way up above and going in the right direction. There's nothing stopping me between here and now the green zone, but this green zone is on a 1 minute chart, which is basically the same price as where it was on the 200 moving average was on the 5 minute chart. You can see here's my take profit on this. If I go to a 5 minute chart, you'll see my take profit's right at the same place where the 200 moving average is. If I go up to a 15 minute chart, there's probably going to be something else that's going to be in the way. Now this one shows that let's see where here's my moving average on the 15. So this has room to the downside, but it just take a lot longer to get all the way down here than where it is right here. Take your profits, get in, get out. The indexes, I think, are better for scalping more so than the long trades, especially this time of day. It seems to work out better. Get
Yeah.
in, get out, get in, get out, and then look for the next trade. Here's a British New Zealand. Let's take a look at that one. And right now, everything's looking good on this one still. I'm going to move my, well, before I look at my British New Zealand, I'm going to move my target up just a little bit to get it above that, where that bounce is. So I'm just going to move it up, rather than 75, I'm going to move it up to, what's the price right now? The price is at 79. I'm just going to go and take my profit right now. I'm just close it out and I'm done. Let's go to the next one, British New Zealand. I think it could retrace way against me by the time I get back to it again after looking at this one. British New Zealand. Now we have a down arrow. So here's the, this is a down arrow that actually closed near the top of the body of the candle. And let's see. See what our direction is. We are in an uptrend with a down arrow. I'd be looking more for a bounce off of this. I like to see this thing come down. I'd like to see a nice little bank conduction. I'd like to see this come right down into this zone, bounce off the 200 moving average in the green zone, and be look more apt to take it long than short. It is in an uptrend, I think we said. It's in an uptrend, looking for an up arrow right in this area. Did have a nice little breakout over the in the London session. Here's the money zone right there. Here's the high of the London session. It broke out, went way up there, made some nice profits on that one. But that you have had to be here at, oh, what time was that? It was 11 o'clock, 5 o'clock this morning. Right now I'm looking to see this thing come down, bounce off of that, and then maybe bounce up again. I would not take it short. And
I got it for you out. Okay.
yes.
I'll make this one.
What's the question?
It's about trailing stop losses. There's a question in the Q&A about trailing your stop loss with the arrow strategies due to our risk reward being 1 to 2, usually on our trades in the arrow. He says, Toza Porn says, sometimes I trail the stop loss into the profit area, but it feels too tight. Could you comment on that? I know that's usually a good thing if you can trail it into the profit area, depending on.
Yeah, I generally don't trail stops. I put my stop where I'm going to have it. I either take my profit or I take my stop. I will be more apt to, I don't usually do it. I look for target zones, and if it starts getting, I look for potential target zones. If it starts giving me some problems getting to that target, I just take it off and take my profit. I generally do not trail stops.
But what if he's asking for him, he likes to trail the stops. Do you recommend trailing it into the profit zone?
The fact I don't do it, I have a hard time recommending anything or how I would trade it because it's not something I do. I would say that I'd say if you're happy where it's at, I would say keep your once you get into your profit zone, then I just say keep it as tight as you can. But my theory about that is if you're at your target zone, take the profit and then maybe get back into the zone if it comes back. Because if you trail your stop, there's going to be a point where you would have made you're going to give up pips based on because it's going to take your stop. Eventually, it's going to take your stop. The only way you can do it is if you keep your stop far enough away so that when it hits your target, if it can keep on going and break through your target to the next target. But my experience has been is that whenever I trail a stop, I was better off just taking the profit where my zone was and just moving on, or keep my stop far enough away that I want to run the trade, and then I wait for that price action pivotal turnaround point, and then move my stop as I see it's already made my target or the target area. And if I want to, I said my theory is if I'm willing to put my stop there, I might as well take my profit at a better spot. That's just me. It's hard for me to comment on something that I don't do.
Yeah, I never use trailing stops for that reason exactly, Al. I don't. I watch. I tend to sit and watch my trades. I don't want to. If you're using a trailing stop, whatever target you're gonna get, you're basically losing whatever your trail is. For me, it ends up being less positive over the course of a volume of trades than in my favor. It just doesn't.
Yeah,
because you lose. Like say you're trailing by 10 pips, you're losing 10 pips. So it hits your target, you don't lock in, and it comes back against you for 10 pips. Well, you're done. Right?
Yeah. The only thing I can say about trailing stops is that if I'm in a swing trade where I'm holding it for a couple of days, I will move my stop to break even as soon as possible. So that way I know I'm in a risk-free trade. And then that either hits my target or it doesn't. If it makes new lows, I may move it down a little bit, but it's only for a swing trade. For the type of trading that I do mostly during the day where I'm intraday trading. Once it hits my target, I'm usually out of there. But swing trade, I would move it to break even as soon as I can, give enough room to where keeping it well above some zones that I would expect it to bounce to maybe retrace. But I try and get my stop to break even as soon as possible in a swing trade. Then I just leave it there until it hits my target or I manually get out of the trade. That's about all I can say about that. I don't know if I answered your question or not, but that's about the best answer I can give you for something I don't do.
Just because we don't do it doesn't mean that you should stop doing it.
Yeah.
Right? Exactly. It's whatever you're comfortable with. For me, it's just not comfortable for me to erode 10 pips or 5 pips or whatever. I'd rather just lock it in and find another position. Because with the addition of the dashboard, you get so many trades.
Well, and the other part is too, is that I'm usually only going for 10, 15, maybe 20 pips. Mm-hmm. I'm not going for the big 100 pip runs, generally speaking. So if I could, so I don't want to be giving up half my profits with, I mean, I would not have a stop less than 10 pips on a Forex pair because in fact, if I do a stop at all, it's usually at least 15 pips, sometimes more often 20 or 20 to that 40 range that is recommended or is advised through the strategies of Arrow. I think 40 pips is a very generous stop, but that's more, I'd be using more of that for a swing trade than I would for a day trade. And I said, once I get up to, if I get, my position sizes are usually large enough to where if I get a 15 pip profit, I'm out of there because I've doubled my lot size compared to the average because I have such a relatively tight stop that I've already made the profits and I just shoot for that 5 or 10, 5 or 10 or 15 pips on a trade. And with that, any trailing stop you'd have with that, you're going to get stopped out before you get your profit on a swing trade or on a intraday scalping type trade. It will take your stop before it gets your profit. More than like, unless you get that strong move down, and it gets. I mean, most of the time, I'm in and out of a trade within 20 minutes. I'm out of the trade. When we were doing the wedges, our average trade time in trade was about 20 minutes. So, and with that, you just keep your stop where it is, and just either get your stop or get your target. So.
All right. With that said, I have a meeting at 9 o'clock.
Okay,
But
we have about 3 more minutes left here anyway, and I would advise everybody to try and see if you can get your arrow. I'm gonna work on my dashboard when I get done here, and see if I can get that up and running for tomorrow's session. As I apologize for not having it ready today. It just is what it is.
let me know if you have any challenges with that, Al.
Yeah,
I'll
I
be
will.
available
I'm
throughout
gonna
the
go
day.
through the videos and see what I can. I'll go through the process so I know what the process is, so that if anybody has trouble tomorrow, we can maybe address some of those. But we'll address that again tomorrow. And again, we have about just a couple more minutes left. I'll hang in here for another 3 minutes, see if there's another trade that comes up, and we can take a look at it.
Did you get your German? Did you see
well,
your German?
Say that again.
Did you get to? Did you?
I closed out my German before I even came to this chart because I knew I was going to be here longer than I'd probably want to. Let's see how's it doing.
I don't know. I closed out because I had to attend the Q&A.
Yeah. See, that's what happens when we run these rooms. We can't always pay it as close attention as we like to, and next you know, we could have taken profits, and by the time we get back to it, we says it's already missed it. So especially with some, this was a scalp. This was a scalp trade. You're in and out. You're not going to spend a lot of time, and if it gets close to you're going to have a tight target. If it gets close to it, you just exit the trade, take your profit, and as you can see right now, it's coming right back about where we got into this thing.
Yeah.
And you would say, well, crap, I could have made my $5 or whatever it was that you were risking, or your target was. And nothing that I hate worse than being close to a profit, not taking the profit, and then have to wait 3 days for it to spend 3 days of emotional inventory waiting for it to come back to maybe get myself back to break even.
Or 3 weeks in some cases.
Or 3 weeks sometimes. So, there's enough trades that come through every day. You don't have to spend a lot of time on each one. Get in, get out, and be happy with it.
And actually, what you just said makes a lot of good sense in response to the question about trading these indexes. Consider them all to be scalp trades, whether it's on a 5 minute or no matter how you're doing it, unless it's a swing, of course. But if you're on a 5 minute, consider it a scalp trade. You would never leave a scalp trade unattended. Don't leave these unattended.
Yeah. Like I said, I wanted to close mine out before I went to the other chart, because I know even with a scalp trade, you're in such a small time frame that 5 minutes. If you're looking at a chart for 5 minutes, you just went through 5 1-minute bars, and you can see what that did right here. You're looking at these. If you're looking at this this lower candle right here, to the side, you got a little fractal right here, and it bounced right off. I mean, it didn't even come quite to your target. If your target was this 200 moving average, and you're waiting for it to actually touch that. Again, if you touch it, it starts to go through the spread, which in this case is 1 or 2 pips, I guess. You'd have to get through hit the target plus the spread in order to get filled. Well, rather than fight all that, just take the profit off the table and wait for if you get a pullback, well, maybe you get a chance to enter it back in again. If it comes back up and retests this trend line, and that's why we got into this trade, because it came down. I had a trend line. It broke the trend line, came up, and then it started going down. This is why I took into that trade. But I'm only looking at being into this thing for about 3 minutes, and then I'm out of it. As soon as it came close to this target area, my target was not here. I mean, I would like to have been here, and I would have liked to have had the ability for it to just plow right through this moving average, which it could have done. But more than likely, it's going to bounce off of that, come back, retest where we get in, and now it still may plow through it. But is this thing still sloping up? It still has a little bit of upward pressure. Could it hit this before the end of this morning? Very possibly, but it could come all the way back up here too, just as easily. Get in, get out, take your profits, and go off and have a life for the rest of the day. That's my theory. And with that, thanks everybody for being here. It's 9 o'clock. We're going to shut this thing down. Any last minute questions or comments before we go? Here's your chance. I urge everybody to try and get your dashboard set up on this thing today. Go through the videos. Don't try and just do it off the cuff. Go through the videos. Usually the videos are pretty good about explaining how to do it, and just follow step by step, and you should be fine. And if not, we'll see if we can work out some problems. We'll see how it goes when I do it. So with
Thanks,
that,
Al.
thanks for coming in. Thanks, CB. And CB, could you come over into the 888? I got a question for you.
Yeah, sure.
All right, thanks. And we'll see everybody tomorrow.
Everybody have a wonderful day and we'll
Have a good day. Stay green, stay safe.
Have a great day. God bless. Bye.